Heads up, Paul. They're back.
Agent Bullfrog of Assessment Team 735, Sparkplug, lifts his head to look through his binoculars at the Chaos Insurgency camp below. Team Sparkplug have been camped out on the ridge overlooking the insurgency facility for the last week. He was itchy, tired, cramped, and stank to high heaven. He was pretty sure that the inside of his grey suit could be considered a biohazard area at this point. The most frustrating part of it, he decided, was that nothing was happening. In the past week, the insurgency had done exactly that. They had trained a few new soldiers, yes, and had done a lot of running through obstacle courses, and firing guns, and blowing up IEDs, but nothing that he hadn't seen in a dozen third world training camps over the past few decades. As odd as it might sound to an outsider, this mission deep behind enemy lines was boring. Until now.
That's a really fancy car. Are those chrome-plated alloy wheels?
Spinners. 10,000 bucks above. That guy's got more bling on his wheels than I'll ever make in a year.
Classy.
Bullfrog agreed. He raised an eyebrow at a flurry of activity down below, and let out a low, surprised whistle.
Skunk boy, look at that. Yeah, that looks serious. Think we should call it in?
I'll do it.
Tell me what I need to know. Assistant Director Tariq Ahmed Khalid, Head of Physics Division's Kabul branch, sat at the head of the rosewood inlaid conference table, tapping the end of his fountain pen against his thigh. His stern, Semitic countenance frozen in a perpetual frown. On the broad screen before him, a satellite image displayed approximately 10 square miles of the Hindu Hush. Steep, Café Eulat mountains capped with snow, leading to a broad, verdant plain, and in the center, a small but distinctive terrorist training camp in a hidden defile. The young adjutant at the laptop computer furiously tapped away at his keyboard for a few moments, before finally bringing up a different image of the training camp, overlaying it over the satellite view.
Alright, sir. Here it is. We've known about this Chaos Insurgency facility for the past 3 weeks. 1 week ago, we managed to get a Physics Division assessment team into the area.
I'm familiar with the operation. Tell me what they found.
Yes, sir.
The young man gulped.
Well, sir, they found evidence of use of weapons, illegal weapon stockpiles, training camps, and indoctrination. And 30 minutes ago, they reported in with this image.
A second photograph was brought up on the screen, next to the first. It showed a large, expensive black luxury car pulled up to the gate of the training camp. 2 men in combat vests, carrying AK model assault rifles, were dragging a third man out of the back of the car, while a third car carried away some kind of small cubicle item. In the background, 2 other prisoners were being led away with their hands cuffed in front of them.
Physics ran a search on their faces and Veritas profiles. We have a match.
The adjutant continued. He brought up another image of a middle-aged man in a grey suit, sitting in a coffee shop somewhere in France.
Philip Anderson, Man Charitable Foundation. They're running a humanitarian operation in the region. If it weren't for their blatant disregard of the second mission concerns, we'd have invited them to join the coalition.
I'm also very familiar with MCF policies and operations. Khalid interrupted again. Tell me why it matters to us.
Well, sir, a high-ranking member of another paranormal organization has been captured by the Chaos Insurgency. I thought...
You can do better than that, David. Khalid insisted. Tell me why we should care. The young man took a deep breath before forging on.
Because, sir, rescuing a high-ranking member of Man Charitable Foundation would give us leverage in the next round of negotiations with them. It could give us a chance to bring them into the fold. Have them agree to second mission concerns and join up with the coalition. They have resources.
I know about the resources. Who is on deck?
According to my information, sir, the next available rapid response team is Broken Dagger, based out of Ireland.
Better get them on the horn right away. It's the middle of the night over there. The alarm blared in Fox's ear like the shrieking of some tortured beast. The slight redhead woman slammed her palm down over the button, silencing the chorus of The Immigrant Song by Led Zeppelin. She groaned as she turned to her nightstand, trying to focus her weary eyes on the text scrolling by. One phrase in large, red text immediately caught her attention. Priority alert. She came awake immediately, sitting up on the edge of the bed and reading through the report twice through to make sure she'd gotten everything. Only then did she slap the button on the wall of her quarters to sound the alarm in the general barracks. It took her 60 seconds to walk down the hall of the barracks in which strike team Broken Dagger slept. She was pleased to see that, by the time she arrived, the entire team was already out of bed and dressed, although a couple of them were pulling on t-shirts and sweatpants as she opened the door.
Alright, this one, Sergeant,
She said grimly, tossing copies of the report to her 3 squad leaders.
A bunch of CI goons just kidnapped an MCF big shot. We're going to get him back.
Gray suits, ma'am? Jackal asked. Fox's XO was a tall, lanky guy who looked like a professional basketball player, with ebony skin and close-cropped hair. He looked even more striking standing next to his diminutive commander.
White. We're going in all out on this one. Fall +2 Gentech. Get suited up.
Whew. They're serious, aren't they?
Yeah, this one's for real. Let's go.
As team leader, Fox claimed first dibs on the shower, stripping out of her tank top and underwear with careless ease, before stepping into the drying room, where powerful blasts of heated air dried her skin out within a few moments. She ran her ID card, kept on the same chain as her dog tags, to the security scanner. The lights on the heavy steel door blinked green for a moment before opening up to the white suit more. White suits weren't white, any more than black suits were black. Grey suits, coincidentally, did default to a grey tone. The term was, instead, supposed to designate the visibility level of its advanced technology. Black suits looked like ordinary, everyday clothing that just happened to be bulletproof, for a certain level of proof. White suits looked like science fiction super soldiers from a video game. The bottom layer of the white suit was a one-piece garment, similar to a racing swimsuit, that fit snugly against her skin. She took a moment to make sure that the relief tubes were properly aligned, something that could become very important during a long mission, and adjust the fit around her shoulders and hips to prevent the garment from pinching under the close-fitting armor. After that, it wasn't difficult to climb into the unfolded white suit itself. She closed the torso plates manually, shifting her shoulders around to get a good, solid fit, then slipped her hands into the gloves and chinned the gloves button on her helmet. The suit tightened around her with a loud, electric whir, followed by the high metallic rings of hundreds of tiny clamps, locking in place. She closed her eyes and waited the 30 seconds it took for the onboard computer systems to power up, then opened her eyes to find herself viewing the world in bright, false colors, as the suit's Oculus system activated. A scrolling column of text along the left side of her screen let her know that her suit was working properly. Everything read green. She gingerly took her first step out of the chamber. The suit didn't fold up and snap every bone in her body, neither did it freeze up and entrap her in a quarter ton of steel and composites.
So far, so good.
Everything alright, Iron Man? Jackal asked, as his own suit finished its power-up sequence. Fox grinned.
Tony Stark wishes he had one of these.
This is the part that I really hate.
Agent Arslike grumbled, as the 12 members of Strike Team Broken Dagger assembled in the silver circle painted on the floor of what had once been an aircraft hangar. There were several men and women in white coats milling around, checking the equipment and rooms that powered the transfer circle. mage from the Center of Unified Thaumatology.
Just close your eyes and think of England.
Ferret said, grinning.
It'll be over before you know it. That's what I told your mom last night.
Alright, Tim.
Fox shouted as she strode into the hangar.
Last chance to go back for anything you forgot. Weapons, ammo, rations, power. Make sure you got everything you need, because coming back is a hell of a lot harder than getting out there. Alpha Squad?
Looks good, Chief.
Bravo?
Everything checks out.
Charlie? We're good. Alright. Visors down. From now on, no faces, no voices. We ready to go, Ups? Ready to abort date on your mark, ma'am,
said the lead magister.
Take a knee, Tim.
The 12 members of Strike Team Broken Dagger all dropped to one knee in the center of the circle. A dozen superhero robots carrying massive sci-fi rifles, kneeling like knights before an altar. Fox closed the visor of her helmet, waited to confirm that her internal air supply had kicked in, then said,
Execute,
and clenched her gut as hard as she could. There was a flash of bright purple light, the sickening sensation of being turned inside out and shooted through a 10-dimensional manifold. Somewhere in England, a cornfield rippled and swayed. As the backlash from the teleport caused a 10-meter wide circular patch of it to be stomped flat. Somewhere in Scotland, a confused plesiosaur poked its head above the water and realized that it wasn't in the Jurassic period anymore. The ground dropped away, and Fox found herself plummeting to earth from 10,000 meters above an Afghanistani mountain range, working just as planned.
There they are. I got eyes on the team. Looks good. I count 12 agents. No aborts or partials.
Through the Veritas sensors, the 12 members of the strike team glowed brightly, like shooting stars against the night sky. They formed up into 3 tight diamonds before banking, slowly, and turning to approach the target area.
Why don't they just teleport them into the ground? Would save them the halo jump. Margin of error. Despite our best efforts, we can still be up to 10 meters off target. If those 10 meters put you underground. Gotcha. So, ever seen a strike team in full white suits take down a target? Can't say that I ever have, no. Then get up here and spot for me. You're not going to want to miss this.
James Kranz wasn't a terrorist. At least, he didn't think he was. After all, terrorists were brown, and they did things like wear towels on their head and blow themselves up with bombs and worship Allah. James was a white guy from a suburban Chicago neighborhood who just happened to be recruited by a man in a dark suit who told him, in no uncertain terms, that he could either come along with them and help them to save the world, or he could die. James was an atheist. Sure, he was in Afghanistan, learning how to make bombs and shoot people, but he wasn't going to do that to Americans. Terrorists did things like that. James was no terrorist. Still, there were moments when he wondered, like tonight, walking around the perimeter of the camp. Someone had to stand guard, carrying an AK-47, with a assault rifle, nothing more, wearing a scarf around his nose and mouth, just to keep the sand and dust out. That felt like a very terroristy thing to do. But James loved America. Terrorists hated America, didn't they? He was still mulling over this conundrum when the man in the powered armor descended from the sky with a pistol in one hand and shot him 3 times.
Show off,
Fox murmured as she hit the ground a few yards away from Jackal. It worked, didn't it?
You were still showing off.
Fox wrapped her parachute shroud and began gathering up the billowing cloth.
Status report.
Everyone on the ground. 1 misdrop. Carman's 10 clicks too far south. He'll catch up with us in time for exfil. Jack replied. He took Fox's parachute from her and stowed it, along with his, behind a nearby rock.
Alright, I'll take his load into security element. Team leaders?
All for ready.
Bravo ready. Charlie, wood one. Alright, we're good.
Go.
Jack took off at a dead sprint, legs pumping fiercely, with the other 3 members of the assault element close behind. He smashed down the chain link fence, raced straight through 3 exploding claymore mines, steel ball bearings bouncing off his armor like marbles off a concrete floor, and slammed through the cinder block wall, shoulder first, smashing concrete and rebar like tissue paper. He ran straight into 3 surprised men sitting around a table playing cards. They started reaching for assault rifles, but there were 3 other members of the assault element who could take them down, so Jackal ignored them and kept running. His momentum carried him straight through the room and through the far wall, smashing through the drywall with a loud paper crunch. He slid across the tile floor on his hip, like a baseball player sliding into second base, and slapped a shaped charge onto the ground as the 3 men in the room he'd just vacated went down with rifle rounds in their heads and torsos. The other members of his team joined him in the kitchen, taking up security positions looking up and down the hallway. He took a few moments to make sure that the charge was properly placed, aiming it away from the life auras that he could see through the Veritas imager. "On 3, he said. "I got the target. 1, 2, 3. He set the detonation code and braced for impact. The bomb exploded, cutting a round hole in the floor, revealing a darkened basement room, illuminated by a single, crazily swinging light bulb. 3 men were gathered around the 4th, who was tied to a chair with electrodes strapped to his face. One of the interrogators was holding up a printout of a brightly colored fractal. Then Jackal's vision immediately blurred as his visor detected a possible visual cognitohazard and switched out of visible light mode. "Stand clear!" Jackal shouted. He dropped into the room, grabbed the target, and pinned him to the ground, covering him with his body. Then triggered the anti-personnel charge strapped to his back. 10,000 tiny, but fast, tungsten darts exploded from his armor in a hemispherical pattern, penetrating flesh, bone, and concrete with equal ease, riddling the Chaos Insurgency personnel. Things were very quiet in the room after that. Only the sound of muffled gunfire let Jackal know that the battle was technically still raging. 2 minutes later, even that ceased.
Wow, that was something. Fast, aren't they? Did that guy really have to do that thing with the window? Nah, but it worked.
Alright guys, enough chatting. In a couple of hours we're going to have 12 strike team members coming up our way, needing an exfil. Spider?
Central got a helicopter incoming. Can you help me clear an LS?
Can do. Scumboy, Kitten, keep an eye on the compound. Let me know if anything comes up.
Can do, boss. Who dares wins and all that. Alright, we've got 30 minutes. Grab what you can and clear them out. Jackal, how's your damsel?
"He's still unconscious," Jackal said, a bit sheepishly. "I think I burst his syndromes. Sorry, folks."
He's alive, right? Don't worry about it.
She stepped over the groaning body of a Chaos Insurgency operative, laying on the concrete, and casually shoot him on the back of his head.
Ferret, Harsley?
We got the other 2 prisoners. One of them keeps babbling something that makes no sense. Something about an aquarium.
I'm heading your way. Anyone else? Shatner's suit took a hit and froze up. He's fine, but I don't think I can fix it. Maybe if we had 2 guys supporting him from either side. With the Chaos Insurgency breathing down our necks? That. Pack his suit and set Scotland charges. Everyone else, keep grabbing any intel you can find. Fox out. Alright, here they come. And not a moment too soon either. Sun's about to come up.
As the sun rose, 11 agents in black-powered armor, carrying 3 rescued prisoners and 1 sheepish-looking, half-naked man wearing what looked like a cross between a speedo and a wrestling singlet, finally emerged from the smoking buildings of the training camp and came jogging up the hill towards the assessment team. At least, it looked like they were jogging, until you realized that the easy, graceful log was actually traveling at around 50 miles per hour. They leaped up the cliff face one by one, and wordlessly nodded to the members of Team Sparkle. The last to arrive was a slight, feminine figure, wearing red commander stripe on her helmet and shoulder.
We're ready to go?
One moment. General, this is Dagger 6. I'm sanitizing the site now.
Dagger 6 Central, go ahead.
She tapped a control on her left gauntlet. Down below, a flash of bright blue light, followed by a loud crack, like that of thunder, indicated that the unfortunate Agent Shatner's white suit was now destroyed, as well as the building it had been left in, which collapsed in a cloud of white hot, incandescent dust.
Alright, now we can call in our ride home. Team Broken Dagger report in at 548 hours. They're in the barracks right now, repairing, regrouping, and preparing for their trip back to Ireland. All in all, a successful operation.
So it was a successful op. Big deal. Anything interesting or unusual I should know about?
Oh, there was one thing. Kind of funny actually. The team was delayed for 10 minutes trying to find one of the prisoner's pets, a syslog of some kind, apparently. He wouldn't live without it. He claims it can talk.
Really?
Khalid asked calmly, taking a sip of his coffee.
What's its name?
Very ungentlemanly of them, Lord Blackwood said, waving his feathery gills about. Absolutely no way to treat a civilized human being. I was reminded of T.S. Lawrence in the hands of the Turks, although thankfully I managed to escape without suffering any of the outrage endured by that illustrious gentleman. The colorful nudibranch lowered its head into the teacup that had been placed into its tank, staining the water a pale brown. All in all, this was not the summer holiday I would have chosen.
I'm just glad to see that you came through it in one piece. You always did have a knack for getting into trouble.
Balderdash, I was never in any true danger, except perhaps running low on rum and tea. Speaking of which, how is that Anderson fellow? Good chap that, but not exactly the adventuring type.
Philip Anderson will recover, although he may have some hearing loss. He'll be fine.
That's good, that's good. By Job, this really has been an odd week, isn't it?
That it was. I don't suppose I can convince you to stay a bit longer. There's no reason for you to go back to the Foundation.
Rubbish! I gave them my parlour. A gentleman's word is as binding as oak. Besides, my housekeeper will be worried about me. She does get into such terrible fits when I'm away for too long.
If you must, Khalid said, inclining his head politely. I'll have a courier take you back in the morning.
Nonsense. I may be getting a bit on in years, but there's still life in these old bones. If I couldn't enjoy an invigorating afternoon sabbatical like a little walk back home, I'd be ashamed to call myself a Blackwood.
In that case, I'll be seeing you around, old friend,
Khalid said, getting to his feet. And you as well, my Arab friend. Inshallah, and may Allah smile upon you. Peace be on his name. Lord Blackwood said. Khalid got to his feet and walked out of the small interrogation chamber, closing the door behind him. He said, David, cleared his throat nervously.
I didn't know you were
I am not. And I am not Arab either. But Theodore is a bit set in his ways. Comes from the era in which he was raised. He means well.
How do you know this is law?
Khalid fixed his head with a martinet's glare, before turning crisply away and walking down the hallway.
That's above your security clearance.
You know,
Bullfrog said thoughtfully,
these guys should stop building their camps in non-terrorist strongholds. I mean, when someone blows up a mystery camp in the Hindu Kush, no one gives a crap. But if it happened in, say, Montana, someone would ask questions.
Yeah, but then they'd have to deal with nosy neighbors, IRS, property taxes, deer on their lawn. Besides, we could still blow them up. We just had to claim it was a metal lab or something.
I guess that's true. To the Chaos Insurgency.
And made their ammo ever run low.
She picked up her beer and took a sip. Not as good as the real thing, but then again, it was impossible to find a real Guinness anywhere outside of Dublin.
So, how's the new girl working out?
Spider? Not bad. She's got a lot to learn, but she learns quickly. Probably one of the best mages I've had the pleasure of working with.
Really? Then she'd consider a career in strike?
Hey, I didn't rat you out of that cave in Argentina so that you could headhunt my wizard away from me.
As I recall, it was me dragging you out of that cave, not the other way around.
More like we were dragging each other.
True.
Fox finished off the rest of her beer and stood up, stretching her arms over her head.
We've got to catch an early flight back to Ireland at 0600. Want to join me in my room for a nightcap?
Our flight is at 0400. I should probably get some sleep too.
Come on, Bull. It's been months since we last saw each other. We've got a lot of catching up to do.
The petite redhead smirked at the larger man as she ran a finger gently across his shoulder blades. Bullfrog smiled.
Alright,
He said, with a sly, knowing smile.
one drink.